Matt, it's great to have you back on the show. I'm super excited to find out what's been going on with Danger Scene. It feels like it's been forever since we've gotten a chance to talk. I feel like I've run into you guys at shows recently, but not talked really. So it's good to have you back, man.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been following you guys on Facebook, of course, like a good radio person does. And I've been kind of hoping to see the announcement of, we got a new track. And we've got the current single, and I love it. It's one of my favorite ones. But I keep on hoping for the next thing, like a good music consumer. But just keep waiting, man. But first off, I guess let's just talk about what you've been doing since the last time we talked, which has been at least like 8 or 9 months. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah, it's been a while. So this last fall, we finished up a tour called High School Nation. We played a bunch of high schools throughout the Midwest. And then after that, we've been writing a lot. We've been saving a lot. We're hopefully going in the studio in the next month or two, and we're coming out with that single that you've been waiting for. So we have a lot of stuff that we're really excited about, and we got to get it down on some tracks.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Now, with all this writing going on, I mean, do you feel like anything has changed in the way that you guys are handling the writing since the last single or the last EP, or does it feel like it's kind of going down that same path?
It's about the same. Michael's the writer in our band. I get up early in the morning and do all the management stuff, and Michael stays up all night doing all the writing stuff. So we make a perfect duo, and we never see each other. No, that's not true. But so it's kind of the same thing. Michael's an awesome writer, and the stuff he's been hitting, like, there's some different stuff, but I mean, we write 50 songs before we record one. So
right.
He's got some really like slower, easy stuff that would be a lot different than most of the stuff that we have out there. And then we have some like really bangers that just super dancey stuff and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what we end up putting into the studio. It'll kind of depend on who we work with as a producer and what their vision is a little bit.
Right, for sure. Now, am I totally imagining this? And forgive me if I am, but I felt like there was some sort of rumbling with you guys maybe getting on some sort of a label at some point over the last year. Is that anything that I'm making up, or is that actually something that's happened?
Nothing that we've liked.
Okay.
So we're still independent. We like having our freedom, but if the right thing came along, we'd do it. It's just the right thing hasn't come along yet.
Right. No, I totally get that, man. I totally get that. And I think that that's a good thing, because you guys have proven that you can put out quality music without having to be on a label or depend on that. But at the same time, you're not close to the idea to where if they could help you get to whatever that next level is, and it be a good deal for you guys, and that's a good thing. So I'm glad that that's something that's at least not off the table.
Yeah. It's something where it's like, as long as I can keep working hard enough to get our music out there and people keep like sharing it and stuff, we shouldn't need a label. It comes down to like more promotion and knowing the right kind of people and being able to book shows and stuff like that through a label. So as long as we can keep doing those things, we really don't need one.
That's cool, man. Now, you had mentioned that some of the songs sound, maybe a little softer than other stuff, and other stuff that's going to be really a little bit more aggressive in the Danger Scene sort of way. I was just watching the video for American Dream, and it struck me that it in and of itself sounds a good bit different than other singles, at least, that you guys have put out there before, and even most of the songs on the EP. Do you feel like that American Dream is any sort of indicator of like a little bit of the shift that might be taking place?
No, not necessarily. American Dream was a very different, because most of the time when we go into the studio, we record a couple songs at a time. American Dream was recorded by itself.
Right.
It was also written, a lot of it, in the studio with Josiah Prince from Disciple. Like, we went in there with not many lyrics and just a general demo idea of what the song wanted to be. And if you listen to the demo that we had before, it's nothing like the song that came out.
Wow.
So it was a studio writing session that song came out of. So it was a little bit different. It's not necessarily the direction that we're going.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, what has been the response to American Dream? Because I know that not only is it a little bit of a different sound, but also, I mean, it's almost more of a social commentary kind of song, which I think works really well. And it's definitely one of those things where, to me, it's kind of one of those songs that is hard to argue with out loud. You can kind of like it or not like it, and you might disagree with it, but it's one of those things where it feels like it would be very difficult to have an open debate about it and not sound dumb. Just to me. I was just like, But
I mean,
I like it though.
the idea of it is like you can have all the things in the world, and that like you can have valuable things, you can have material things, and that's not necessarily what's going to bring you joy or happiness in life. And for us, it's our faith in Christ and the love He's given us. But like so many people just get lost in their jobs and their social media and that kind of stuff, and already especially as a country, our country is kind of interesting right now. So it is a social commentary about what's going on right now, and probably what's been going on forever, and just the human nature of craziness and material things.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so funny because with as much things that are pushed at us one way or another, whether it be, music or the latest iPhone or, whatever, it always feels like it's super easy to, without even noticing, just constantly find yourself going, man, how do I get that thing? And
right.
what's next? And it's like, and once you get that thing, it's like, okay, I've got that thing. Now what's the accessory for that thing that I need?
Right. No, we're no different than that. So like we want the next thing. We want nice clothes and I don't know, all the things. We're just as flawed as everybody else. But it comes down to focusing on what you're doing. And music is a great way for us to get out. Like we're emotional musically. So we write and we play music with emotion, and it's really like hits us at our core of what we believe and what we are thinking about when we write and play stuff. So that's the kind of stuff we want to get out there.
Yeah.
So that's what ends up coming out in our music.
Sweet deal, man. Sweet deal. So you had kind of mentioned the idea of like, writing 50 songs just to get to the one that you want to record. How many songs do you think you guys are planning on putting on the next project, or is that too soon to tell?
It's too soon to tell. Honestly, it comes down to money.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if we get tax returns this year or like what happens if we get some licensing deals or anything like that. I mean, we would record all 50 songs if we had the money to do it. So yeah, it's going to come down to how much money we have to record stuff.
Nice. Well, that's one of those things that is kind of an inhibitor, whether you want it to be or not. And I totally get that.
That's where a label would come in and be a little bit better job if they had the money to help us record stuff.
Right. I hear that. Is there any talk of maybe doing some sort of a crowdfunding for the next piece?
I don't know. We're pretty...
Preferably not.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan crowdfunding. I would rather just people buy our merchandise and stuff like that, or invite us to come play a show or something like that. I don't know. We may do it. It's just, I still feel weird about it.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you this? I know that some people and some bands kind of find a little comfort in kind of the designation between doing a crowdfunding to like, this is to pay for the record, as opposed to saying, hey, this is a pre-order for the record that will be done. Is there any difference in that for you? Yeah,
I mean, a pre-order would be interesting, but that would be at a point we would still want to have like a sample of what we were going to do. So we would pay and record everything first, and then have an idea of people have an idea of what they're going to pay for. Support the musicians that you love. Support the people, the artists that you love, because they're going to come out with something you'll love. But for me as an artist, I like to have something out there for somebody to grasp at and hear before they pay for it.
Right. It's almost the blind purchase that feels weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I can appreciate that. I mean, there is something odd. And to me, in a way, I can also see how that would be some added pressure, too, because then it's like, well, people bought the record. They know what we sounded like before. However, that doesn't guarantee what we're going to sound like the next time. And if they don't like it. Yeah,
what if we record something and then they're just like, I paid for this and I don't like it? Like, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Although in a way, it's almost kind of funny because I remember buying music, back when we would go to like, a bookstore or a record shop or something, and you would see something be like, I don't know who this band is, but the album cover looks cool and it's in the section that I like, and it's $5. Why not?
Yeah, that's true.
But it is different. I mean, that was just because that was one of those things where either you heard it on the radio or your buddy had it, or you were just taking a guess, and that was about as good as it got.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, I guess. And that's it. Definitely have those CDs.
Yes.
now, man.
Okay, so you guys are working on writing, or Michael's working on writing some stuff. You're working on keeping things on the business end afloat with getting stuff booked and kind of making sure that all that is taken care of. Is there any sort of timetable that you guys are hoping for at this point?
I mean, we probably, to record something, get it mixed, get it mastered, and get it live takes at least a couple months.
Right.
Just in and of itself before you get into the studio. It'll be May, April before we do anything.
Okay. Gotcha.
Before we release anything. Recording shooting a music video on top of that. And then usually it takes me about a week to edit that. So it adds up. For sure. For
those people who haven't heard an interview with you and I before, you guys are kind of what I would consider, for me at least, kind of poster boys for do it yourself when it comes to music in a lot of ways, because especially if you've seen the music video for American Dream, all those light stands, if I'm not incorrect, you actually made those, didn't you?
Yeah. So I have an engineering degree that I got before music took off for me. And so I build LED lights and stage lights and then program them. And then we shoot our own music videos. I edit them, writing, recording, playing the show, building the lights, doing our own management, booking, that kind of stuff. Like, if we can do it ourselves, if we can build websites ourselves, we do it.
Yeah.
So it's a DIY world out there. You can learn how to do anything.
Right, for sure. And it was funny because the first time, I guess it's been the only. Have I seen you guys once? The time that I saw you guys perform out at Rocket Town, you guys were still kind of putting the polishing touches on the lights because you had just finished making them and you were making sure those were all working well, and it added a lot to the show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. How often do you end up having to either tweak them or have to work on them to make sure everything is the way it should be?
Kind of. The ones that we have right now are like a second version, rebuilt version. They work pretty much every time. I've built like 5 or 6 different styles of lights.
Okay.
And then I just design things in my head and then try building them. And a lot of times I have to tweak the type of LEDs or like some electrical stuff. I have a design for a much bigger light show that I'd like to do, that I need the money to, more money to invest in to do this huge light show for us. So, and that might be something I have to tweak. I always do a first version for me, and then I've sold different light shows to different artists and stuff like that. Yeah, the ones we have right now are just kind of foolproof. You just plug them in and play, which is really nice because that's what we need as a 2-piece band with drums. A lot of times we're opening shows for people because we're a 2-piece, we can fit in front of everybody.
Right.
The entire light show, we need to be able to set up super quick and tear down super quick. And these lights work really well for that.
Nice, cool. Now you had mentioned kind of the idea of do it yourself and kind of hustling to get things going. You're making lights for other people. One of the other things that we talked about before was every now and then you'd gig out with another group or band to play drums for them when they were performing live. Have you still been up to that lately?
Yeah, I still play drums for Linux.
Nice.
So we're both driving to Chicago with Linux tonight to play a show tomorrow.
Cool.
But yeah, I play with Linux a lot. We're good friends with them. We've been friends with them since our last band and touring all around the country and stuff. So mostly just them. Every once in a while I'll get a one-off show that I'll do stuff. I also do some driving and tour tour work with other bands, but just trying to play drums as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. That's awesome. Now, what would you say is the biggest challenge for playing with other bands? Because I know that most good drummers, of which I would consider you one of, find it fairly easy to pick up on music for other bands, which to me totally blows my mind. Because the idea of having all 4 of my limbs work separately, doing different things, kind of scares the mess out of me. But the idea of doing that for something that I didn't necessarily know as well scares me more. But what is the most difficult thing about doing that for you?
I'm weird. Michael's also a drummer. He can hear a band and just know how to do a drum beat and just play it. I, on the other hand, have to do repetition. So if I have to learn a new set or something, I just have to play it 1,000 times.
Oh, wow.
Or listen to it. Even just listening to it a bunch of times, I can get it there. I've played shows where I just drummed on my lap in the airport on the way to the show for, I don't know, 5 hours or something like that. And, you get what you get. But I don't know. I have a specific style, so it's usually nothing super technical. I just I'm crazy on drums, and I flip sticks, and I'm a fun to watch. So if a band or an artist wants that style of drumming where they just need some movement or something crazy or somebody fun to hang out with, that's a drummer. Those are the artists that I usually end up playing for.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. So now, has there ever been talk of doing a dual set in a Danger Scene set with Michael doing drums as well?
Yes, that is something that he wants to do very much. I think when we started Danger Scene, he was like, could we do this with 2 drum sets? I was like, I don't want to set up 2 drum sets.
Right.
No, that will probably happen sometime. I actually just built a new drum set.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that's another thing I do. I build drums.
Yeah, that's something to mention.
So I built a new drum set over the Christmas. So I guess that's something I've been doing over the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Finished it last month, and that'll probably be what we record on. But now, so I have 2 drum sets. He'll want me to have another drum set set up for him. It could happen. It'd be fun. For sure.
Yeah, we went, I went and saw Family Force 5 recently, and that was one thing that I found interesting that I did not expect, because their current lead singer used to be their drummer. He actually set in on drums for probably about maybe half the set, which was interesting, and I did not expect at all. And it was just like a really basic, it was about the most basic set I'd ever seen. It was also about 3/4 size, which made it rather funny. But yeah, it's always amazing to me how many people I'm like, wow, it's like you're a lead singer. Oh yeah, and you used to play drums. Interesting. So it's cool when that works.
They do that a lot. I saw them doing that with Kyle Levy from Viridia the other day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this is great. I like that they do that.
Nice.
More drummers, the better, I'd say.
That makes sense, because I'm pretty sure I saw him at the show that I was at, and I could not place him, which made me angry. I'm like, I know who that is, and I cannot think for the life of me who it is. And then I was looking through stuff, and I saw that Viridia was making the announcement about jumping over to Razor and Ty, and I'm like, that's the dude! That was him!
That's the one. Exactly. Yeah, they're good friends with those guys, so
right.
It works out well.
Nice. Well, I'm also glad that I went too, because then it was like a week and a half later that Hollywood said, I'm out. And I'm like, what? Well, that was cool. I finally got to see him play, and now he's gone.
You got to see him at least once, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'd seen him play with Waverly right before they broke up too. See, I'm like a harbinger of doom, dude. So if I ever show up at your show again, you need to make sure everything's cool with your brother.
Of course.
I'm like an albatross, man. It's no good.
That's the good thing about being brothers. Like we can't break up this. So
right. Yeah, if you guys stop talking, it's far more awkward than if just 3 random dudes who played together for 4 years all of a sudden decide they're done.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since we live together.
Yeah. Right. That does make it more difficult. Oh, man. Well, this will probably be a little inside baseball for everybody else, but you and I both live kind of in the Nashville area. And, of course, over the last few days, we just had an unusual amount of snow and ice and all that good stuff, which I guess we get every now and again. But what did you do to pass the time while all of this nastiness was going on outside?
I mean, I went hiking. I was fine.
Oh.
It's been 10 degrees and snowy and icy, but I'm from Kansas. I'm from the Midwest. Like, I just put on layers and went out to waterfalls, you know?
Wow. Nice. What was the coolest thing that you thought you saw, or that you thought you saw? I would say, make it sound like you're hallucinating. What was the coolest thing that you saw while you were out and about in the snow and ice?
We went to this frozen waterfall, basically. Mm-hmm. So like 50-foot waterfall. There's just ice everywhere, and I put up my hammock over some water and just, hung out for a while. Here in Tennessee, it's awesome. It's beautiful. So you can't really beat it. When I can get outside and everything else is closed, I might as well go out and look at waterfalls.
There you go, man. There you go. Yeah, man, I've seen some pictures. We lived in Oregon for a while. Multnomah Falls out there is just huge. And it's always interesting whenever it gets cold enough to freeze, because inevitably people will journey out there to take pictures of it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Nice.
And then no one else is out there right now. It's the perfect time to go.
There you go, man. There you go. You got it all to yourself. And I think the funnest thing to me about when it snows, between the lack of traffic and everybody being huddled up indoors, and then just the sound dampening that the snow has, it's just almost eerily quiet.
Oh, yeah. It's super weird like that. But like at that point, you can either just like walk through the snow and enjoy the nice peace and quiet, or pop in some headphones. And I don't know, with snow around, the band Sigur Rós is like perfect background music for being outside.
There you go, man. I like it. Cool. Well, dude, there is, of course, the question I like to end with, which I'll get to in a second. But is there anything else, Danger Scene or just Matt related, that I haven't gotten to that you really want to get out there at this point?
I don't know. I'm just excited about this year. It's going to be a good year.
Sweet.
Big year, good year, good stuff.
Cool, man. I love it. Sweet deal. Well, the last time we talked, I asked you what you thought was the most un-rock and roll thing about you. And I think that may have actually been when it came out that you built your own lights, which for some reason you thought was like borderline nerdy, which I don't get at all. I think that's awesome. But with that being said, what has that changed any, or is there anything else that you would think at this point is the most un-rock and roll thing about you, despite the fact that you're a drummer in a band, which is just too cool?
Man, un-rock and roll thing about me. I feel like I get more rock and roll every time we talk.
Oh.
I'm like, I know he's going to ask this question, so I need to be more and more rock and roll each time. Man, I have a fox tattoo on me. That's not super rock and roll. Maybe it is. Maybe that is rock and roll. I'm going to have to come up with something.
Well, that's okay, man. That's okay. Now, is it a stylized fox, or is it kind of a more photorealistic kind of fox?
It's stylized. It's got some flowers on it, so there you go. Flowers and a fox on my arm tattoo.
Well, see, I didn't think it was un-rock and roll until you mentioned the flower, so I'll take it now.
Yeah. Now I was looking at. I always forget about the flowers. Looking at it, I was like, oh, I got pink flowers on my arm. Okay, there's my most un-rock and roll right there.
Fair enough. Well, next time we'll have to figure out something else. I mean, we're just going to unearth everything, man. We're just going to strip you down to where there's nothing but rock and roll left.
Nothing but rock and roll, man. That's all I need in my life.
Cool deal, dude. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know this was very last minute, and it was a pleasure to get to catch up with you. And hopefully, we'll get a chance to catch you guys out here in Nashville again sometime soon. And it's always a pleasure, dude.
Dude, always a pleasure. Good to talk to you. We got to hang out more.
Yes, absolutely.